In this video, I'm doing something completely new. Not only showing you how to tattoo this design, but also giving you an in-depth look at how it healed, just like you asked for. Today's design was one of my wanna-dos. Here's a quick time-lapse of how the design came to life. You can find all the products I use in the video description, and with the code FANITATTOO, you get 10% off your order. I'm starting here with a 3-round liner needle, a stroke of 4.2 millimeters, and I let the needle stick out about 4 millimeters from the cartridge. These are light gray lines. Even if the lines are barely visible at first, the slightest touch of the skin is enough to later recognize them as what's called a bloodline. I prefer to make the lines a bit lighter because otherwise there's a risk that some lines will end up too bold. In a realistic design, you should hardly see any lines. If there's a black area in the stencil, I can tattoo the lines directly in pure black. As long as I keep the skin well stretched, it takes the ink well. The less the skin is stretched, the deeper I'd have to go with the needle. The stencil holds up really well. Still, I try to touch or wipe over it as little as possible. This makes my work easier and lets me work calmly with a perfect stencil. For the whiskers, I also prefer to tattoo lines. Many tattoo artists leave these hairs open and only shade around them. In my opinion, they don't look as crisp that way compared to when I make 2 fine lines. It also makes shading up to the edge easier. After I've finished all the lines and cleaned the tattoo thoroughly, this is what it looks like. Now I switch to a 7-round liner needle, still working with 8 volts, a stroke of 3.3 millimeters, and let the needle stick out about 3 millimeters. I start right at the eye. There's a reason for that. Concentration fades over time during tattooing. That's why I do the most important elements first. In this case, the eye. Using small circular motions, I fill in the area that's supposed to be black. To make sure the eye heals nice and dark, I use pure black. I now also work on a few other areas that are going to be pure black. As with every design, I make sure the eyes, nose, and mouth always contain pure black. Now I'm using a 9 soft edge Magnum needle, a stroke of 3.3 millimeters, and I let the needle stick out about 2 millimeters. Here I'm mainly using the second darkest shade of gray. When I hold the needle sideways, it automatically creates a nice fur texture. Because the design is quite small, a small Magnum is perfectly sufficient. For a larger piece, I'd use a larger Magnum needle. Since I haven't been tattooing for very long, my focus is at its absolute maximum right now. If I had only reached the mouse's head after 4 hours, it definitely wouldn't look as good as it does now at the beginning. That's why I first made sure the stencil could no longer smudge, and then I focused on the most important parts of the tattoo. Because I outlined the mouse's individual hairs earlier with the 3-round liner needle, it's now much easier for me to leave them open, since I have a clear boundary of how far I can tattoo. By keeping the skin under strong tension, I can work with a lot of precision. If you find it too difficult to tattoo precisely along the edges with a Magnum needle, it's better to use a thinner needle for that. But it's definitely worth learning to handle the Magnum needle. It saves a lot of time. So far, I have only used black and the second darkest shade of gray for the head. Even so, you can see many different gray tones because I try to make all the transitions as smooth as possible. I can also tattoo lightly with a dark gray if I'm careful. The advantage of this is that the skin isn't stressed as much when using a darker gray. When I use a dark gray to shade an area lightly, I need fewer passes than if I tried to reach the same shade with a light gray. Logically, this causes less trauma to the skin. Of course, it requires a bit of sensitivity. Some areas in this design will be filled in with pure black, like this one here. Before I fill in the area, I carefully work around the edges. I find this approach very comfortable because it allows me to fill in the area without having to concentrate unnecessarily hard. There are different ways to fill an area solidly. Personally, I prefer fast circular motions while still moving forward very slowly. This way, my needle hits many different parts of the skin in a short amount of time. Especially with the packing technique, it's essential to have enough ink in the cartridge. The rest of the mouse's body is tattooed using exactly the same technique. I use the dark gray to create the fur texture and black to fill in the areas. Now I press on the remaining stencil. At first, I applied it exactly like the original design, but then I decided to modify it a little. I pressed the fence in the background a bit lower, moved the mouse with the parachute a little further out, and redrew parts of the fence with a skin marker. Together we decided to leave out the airplane for now and replace it with a smaller one another time. I continue with the 7-round liner needle. This needle is perfect for lines and also the ideal size for filling in the small areas afterward. I could tattoo all the lines first and then fill everything in. But since we've already been tattooing for a few hours, I fill them in right away. The downside is that I have to keep an eye on the stencil to make sure it doesn't smudge. On the plus side, it's less painful for the client. Now let's move on to the mouse with the parachute. If you compare the mouse to my finger, you can see how small it actually is. That's why I use a 3-round liner needle here. Personally, I think it's important to bring your own creative input into tattoo projects. And believe me, if you've already spent a few hours perfecting a design, tattooing it becomes a lot more enjoyable. You might even discover your own style in the process, and that can only happen if you really dive deep into working with your designs. To make sure the black areas don't take too long to fill, I prefer using a larger needle. In this case, I'm going back to the 7-round liner needle. Switching needles isn't a big deal. If you always use the right needles, you'll finish much faster and your result will look much cleaner. For the background, I use a 17 soft edge Magnum needle. Since the area is quite large, a big Magnum needle is perfect for this. To work cleanly along the edges, I use the whip shading technique. With this technique, shading is done in only one direction, allowing you to work very precisely along the edges. Moles always have to be left untouched, so dermatologists can still examine them during health checkups. To make the shading fade out softly, I switched to the pendulum shading technique for large areas. This technique involves soft shading in both directions. Up here, I'll show you another technique you can use. First, focus only on the large areas and don't work right up to the edges yet. Now I switch to the 9 soft edge Magnum needle. With this needle, it's much easier to tattoo cleanly along the edges. If that's still too difficult for you, switch to an even smaller needle. You could also use a round shader or round liner needle. Let's go back to the 17 Magnum. Since I have now worked along all the edges, I can let the shading fade out softly. Down here, the train wagon is still missing. It might look complicated, but it's actually done quite quickly. First, I work cleanly along all the edges again to make the filling easier afterward. Now I can fill in the rest. Take your time with packing to make sure that areas are really solid. Here, I'm not shading as carefully as I would for a realistic portrait. That's because small irregularities are actually welcome in this design. After all, it's supposed to be an old train wagon that's been abandoned underground somewhere. Basically, everything now just repeats itself, so let's jump straight to the white. For the white, I use a 7-round shader needle. White has the great advantage of appearing slightly brighter than the skin once it's healed. Another benefit of white is that it supports areas that would normally fade during the healing process. For example, fine lines. The white pigments push out the darker pigments, helping the details last longer. I tattoo white slightly deeper than black because white pigment is a bit thicker in consistency. For larger areas, I can also use a Magnum needle to work faster. The lighter the color, the more visible the blood is, but don't let that throw you off. The redness fades after just a few minutes. Because the hairs here are very thin, I tattoo them with a 3-round liner needle. With the blood, it looks a bit messy right now, but as you'll see later, that settles down. This is now the most painful part for my client, but he's almost through it. There are also some reflections in the fence. I add white in those areas too, so the details don't fade over the years. The little mouse with the parachute also needs a few highlights. That instantly makes it look more alive. Normally, white is applied at the very end. However, we decided to tattoo the cheese pendant in yellow at the end. In this case, you just have to use plenty of Vaseline and smear it over the white so the yellow doesn't get stuck in the white areas. Since yellow is also a light color, that's not a problem. It would only be problematic if I were to smear a very dark color over the white. Here we can see the freshly done tattoo next to the healed one. Overall, it healed nicely, but I still want to show you how I analyze my tattoos. Because only by being self-critical can you really improve, and I know every tattoo artist will agree, you never stop learning. I'll definitely touch up the area around the eye and the eye itself to make it look more intense. Next time, I'd make the whiskers a bit thicker and use a 7-round liner instead of a 3-round liner. The little mouse in the background still needs a few black accents, especially in the eyes, and I'll darken the background on the right side with some pure black shading so that the mouse stands out more. Believe me, your clients will appreciate it if you're self-critical and check every healed tattoo to see if anything needs touch-up. Be strict with yourself. That's the only way to keep getting better. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate a like and a free subscription. The real-time video is available exclusively for channel members. You'll find the stencil and reference design pinned as the top comment there.